Hello，阿弥陀佛。Hello，阿弥陀佛。现在是
Good evening. Hello, Amidaba. Hello, Amidaba.
YouTube、Facebook 线上的莲花童子们，
All disciples on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook online. Good day to everyone.
我是今天的主持人莲
I
花
am today's host, Lotus Xuemei. I am from Canada.
现在是
Today, right now,
2月23号3月31日，加拿大东部时间。
but it is
早上7点52分，美加西部早上4点52分，巴斯时间是早上8点52分，台湾时间是晚上7点53分。
It is March 31st, 8 p.m. in Taiwan. In Indonesia, it is also in the evening at 7 p.m. And then in the US, I think it's about 4 a.m. in the morning.
对不起，因为我这里电脑有点问题。
Apologies because I'm facing some technical difficulties.
现在现在为了缓和一下气氛，请那个一才讲师帮我放一下PPT。
So we're putting up the sharing the PPT slides now on the screen.
地基愿意心口意清净供养莲生佛，我渺渺心怀感恩。最敬爱的莲生佛，慈悲携手地基，我诚心诚意所具 I love you。愿地基今生福为最主追随莲生佛，巧妙悲济双运度众生。愿真佛经以美妙音符唱诵在地球，我要对虚空说声 Thank you。莲生佛，让我虔诚祈祷，献上一首诗赞美你，不为诽谤，用虔心谨记，独立怀慈悲， 虽以供养众生体，其余众生复为己。诸佛地基受戒律，均是众法悉修者，莲生佛。愿莲生佛，其余地基悲基双运。愿地基坚定出发心，领悟佛法的真谛。莲生佛，愿地基明白其等悉地摩双莲起。嗡阿吽，咕噜贝阿吽，萨萨玛哈莲生悉地吽，莲生佛。愿莲生佛，其余地基悲基双运。愿地基坚定出发心，领悟佛法的真谛。莲生佛，嗡阿吽，咕噜贝阿吽，萨萨玛哈莲生悉地吽，莲生佛。嗡阿吽，咕噜贝阿吽，萨萨玛哈莲生悉地吽。哈喽，因为我今天的状态不是很好，我想麻烦一才讲师替我主持，因为我可能太激动了，我没有办法主持下去，对不起。
阿弥陀佛，大家好。
Amidaba. Good day to everyone. So this song is sung by D.A. Xuemei, and the lyrics are extremely touching. It is a song describing our gratitude, our disciples' gratitude to Living Buddha Grandmaster. And it really speaks to our feelings, especially during now when we are during the recent years when we are facing the pandemic and we are not able to see Grandmaster so often. So D.A. Xuemei has shared her feelings in a song. So I'm sure most of us are feeling the same way. So it's mostly a song about gratitude. So afterwards, we will be sharing this video on the various chat groups of the TBS online universities. So yep, so there's 1 more minute before class starts proper. So just a gentle reminder to everyone, if it's possible to have your camera turned on, because this is the chapter 2 of lesson 4. So we haven't, for some of the participants, we have not seen their faces yet. So we have only seen a black screen on, yep. So hope that everyone will be able to turn on their cameras and get online together to learn together. So since we are all gathered together as Dharma brothers and sisters here to learn the Buddha Dharma, so why not we just take one more step and turn on the camera so to let everyone get to know each other, to see each other, and also to, as Dharma propagators, to set a good example. All right, so thank you everyone. So now it is now time for our class. It is 8 p.m. So before we start class proper, let us pay homage to our Grandmaster and TBS lineage. Homage to our root lineage guru, Living Buddha Lianyi, and past lineage gurus of the True Buddha School, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, and Dharma protectors of the shrine to radiate light on us, such that today's class will go smoothly. Let us chant the Padma Kumara mantra. Om Guru Lian Shen Siddhi Hom. 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 Amitabha. Once again, welcome everyone to today's class, Chapter 2, Lesson 4 on the True Buddha Great Mandala Offering Practice. So firstly, so online we see our lecturer, Master Lianyi. Today he is online early. Thank you, Master Lianyi. As well, we see our chairman, Master Cheng Zhu, as well as the education director, Master Lian Ha. We also see our PR director, Master Lian Jia, as well as Master Lian Fei, and all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, assistants, as well as all fellow disciples on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. Amitabha, everyone. So today, let us go into lesson straight, and let's give a warm round of applause to Master Lianyi to welcome him. Yeah, so you can also enter 888 in the chat box to welcome our today's lecturer, Master Lianyi. So firstly, let us put our palms together to pay homage to our Living Buddha Lian Shen, Guru Living Buddha Lian Shen, our TBS lineage gurus of the TBS lineage gurus, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. Most Honorable Chairman, Master Cheng Zhu, Education Director, Master Lian Ha, PR Director, Master Lian Jia, as well as all Master Senior Reverends, Dharma instructors, assistants, and fellow disciples. Amitabha, good day to everyone. So today we will be talking about the True Buddha Tantric Dharma, Chapter 2, a detailed explanation on the complete Tantrayana Sadhana, Lesson 4, True Buddha Great Mandala Offering Practice. So before we go into that, let us take some time for revision. So the first question is, there are 4 types of True Buddha Great Homage Mudra, namely the Buddha Shrine Mudra, the Lotus Mudra, the Equanimity Mudra, and so the last mudra is, which is the answer, is the Vajra Mudra. Second question, during the Great Homage visualization, after placing the mudra at the broad chakra, throat chakra, and heart chakra, one immediately visualizes oneself prostrating in front of the Buddha with your entire body. After this, what is the next step? So you can see the question also, the translated question in the chat box as well. So the answer is, return the mudra back to the broad chakra to disperse it. The third question, the 2 piths to the great homage prostration practice are to visualize prostrating to the infinite Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors in the void, and what is the second pith? So the question is also in the chat box. So the answer is to visualize oneself in the void, transforming into infinite bodies. So let us go into today's class proper. The Great Mandala Offering Practice. So the Great Mandala Offering Practice is one of the 4 preliminaries in Tantrayana. It should be a compulsory course for every Tantric practitioner and to be practiced 100,000 times or more. So the importance of the Great Mandala Offering Practice. Tantrayana cultivation is all about offering because offering practice is the most important. During each cultivation practice, offerings must be provided, and this step is known as the Great Mandala Offering. The definition or the meaning of the Great Mandala Offering Practice. So the offering has the meaning of to support or to look after. Offering to those above oneself has the meaning of closeness, serving, and respect. Offering to those below oneself is giving or dana, and it has the meaning of sympathy, compassion, and cherishing. So there was a story about Lama Tsongkhapa, when he was 53 years old, he held a vast offering ceremony. So it was from the first day to the 15th day of the first lunar month. In total, it was a 15-day vast offering ceremony. And then there was about 10,000 monks and tens of thousands of lay disciples who participated. So this ceremony was really a very vast offering ceremony, very extensive, very great, a big scale. So this was done at the 大昭寺 and 小昭寺. So 大昭寺 is a Jokhang temple, and 小昭寺 is the Ramoche temple. So at the offering ceremony, Tsongkhapa prepared this Buddha crowns made of pure gold. So he presented he presented 5 Buddha crowns made of pure gold on the Shakyamuni Buddha statue at the Dazhao Si, or the Jokhan temple. And the streamers along the crowns are also made of pure gold, embedded with many rare, expensive gemstones, and it was extremely majestic. So the interior of the temple was decorated with banners, while at the outside of the temples, huge banners which were made of silk and satin were also hung on the tall trees. The scene was very beautiful and very majestic, very solemn. So in the main Buddhist hall, lamps were lit along the path of the halls for days and nights. So in front of the Shakyamuni Buddha statue, there was a large square vat filled with yak butter oil, and the flame of the lamp was like shining golden stars soaring into the sky. So during the ceremony, many saw auspicious signs. And some people saw the Tibetan 3 main guardians, Sanhu Zu, which is Manjushri, Avalokitesvara, and Vajrapani. So other people saw 35 Buddhas appear in the void as well. So this ceremony was extremely special and precious because this is because in Tantrayana, offering practice is the most important. A lot of importance is placed on the offering practice. And there were a lot of mantras recited for offering practices, and they will do offering practices daily. So next is how to perform offering practice. First, we talk about the offering mudra. So in the offering mudra, the 2 ring fingers are upright and back to back with each other. The middle fingers are extended and crossed with each other. The pinky fingers are extended and crossed with each other. Next, the index finger each hook onto a middle finger. The right index finger hooks onto the left middle finger, and the left index finger hooks onto the right middle finger. So you can see it from the picture. So the 2 thumbs press on the ends of the 2 pinky fingers. So the right thumb presses on the left pinky finger, and the left thumb presses on the right pinky finger. So I'm sure that everyone is very familiar with this mudra. So next, we'll talk about offering visualization. So visualize all offerings imprinted in one's mind, first multiplying from 1 into a row, and then multiplying into a layer, and finally multiplying to fill the entire universe in all directions, immeasurable and boundless. So afterwards, visualize all these precious offerings being offered to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You can also visualize these offerings within within the mudra, and then have the mudra multiply into many to fill the entire universe, immeasurable and boundless as well, filling the entire universe. So this is the offering verse. So the first one is Mount Meru, together with the 4 continents, sun and moon, transforms into precious treasures to offer to the Buddhas. May the immeasurable merits arise arisen from these treasures quickly remove negative karma to realize Buddhahood. So we can also recite the second one, which is essentially the same, except for the last line, which is the last line is allow attainment of body with all sentient beings. So the offering mantra, the fourth one is the offering mantra. And then lastly, touch the mudra to the bro chakra to disperse the mudra. So this is the complete practice of the offering practice. So the meaning behind different offering items, there are usually 6 kind of offerings, namely flowers, fragrance, water, incense, food, and light. So these 6 types represent giving or generosity, upholding of precepts or morality, patience or tolerance, diligence, meditative stability, and wisdom. So flowers, they represent extraordinary beauty, handsome appearance, and symbolizes generosity. Fragrance, next is fragrance. It represents a fragrant smell and symbolizes upholding of precepts or morality in a sense. Water, the third one is water, which symbolizes patience or tolerance. The fourth one is incense. Incense offering signifies growth and flourishing and symbolizes diligence. The next one is food, which symbolizes meditative stability. Food nourishes the practitioner's mind and body. The last is light, which symbolizes exceptional wisdom. Boundless light symbolizes wisdom. So this is the 6 parameters. Even though this is 6 parameters, so the perfection of this generosity dominates the 6 perfections. So you can see generosity in the practice of the 6 perfections or the 6 parameters. So the first reason is there are 3 types of generosity. Perfection. So the first type is the giving of wealth or material resources. The second type is the giving of righteous Dharma. And the third one is the giving of protection and pacification. So um so practicing these 3 is the perfection of generosity. So the second reason is when we are giving material resources to those in poverty, or giving the righteous dharma to those who are ignorant, and giving protection and pacification to those who are suffering in pain and fear. By performing these types of givings, we are also benefiting all sentient beings. So these are the very basic precepts of Mahayana Bodhisattva, which is the precepts of gathering good deeds and the precepts of benefiting sentient beings. Both are also included in the practice of the perfection of morality and precepts. So the third reason is when we are doing generosity, it is unavoidable that we will encounter various situations, such as those whom we try to help speak rudely to us, or there are people who will slander the righteous Dharma. So to be a Bodhisattva, we should be able to tolerate these unpleasant situations peacefully without anger. And this is the practice of perfection of patience and tolerance. So the fourth reason is one, we should practice generosity from the perspective to save sentient beings. To practice this generosity without hesitation, without any limits, without any time limit, without any kind of limits, without slacking off. So therefore, this is the practice of the perfection of diligence. So the fifth reason is, although a Bodhisattva is practicing generosity, perfection of generosity, he should also always stay in a state of tranquility, far away from all forms and appearances, and he should attain a state of stability without restlessness or distraction. So this is the practice of the perfection of concentration. So the sixth is when a bodhisattva is practicing generosity, he does not see himself who is giving. He does not see the person whom he is giving to. He does not see the objects and actions when giving, such as the wealth, the dharma, and pacification. This is known as San Lun Ti Kong, which is the 3 transcendence voidness of generosity. So So this is another story about a man named Chuck Finney in the United States. So he donated 4 billion to charity, and the remaining and another 4 billion will be donated during the rest of his lifetime. So he has kept a low profile, but his good deeds have been discovered, and this attracted a number of journalists to interview him, asking him why he donated so much money and why is he doing it so indifferently. He didn't really answer that question directly, but instead he told them a story about the fox who ate the grapes. So the story goes, there was a fox. He saw that the vineyard was full. He saw a vineyard that was full of large and small grapes. So the fox wanted to go in to the vineyard to eat the grapes. However, because the fox's body was too big, he could not squeeze through the whole of the vineyard fence. So the fox stuffed himself outside the yard for 3 days and 3 nights. So after 3 days, because he stuffed himself, he was thinner, and therefore he was able to squeeze through the hole. So after entering, because he was so hungry, he had starved himself for 3 days and 3 nights. He saw the grapes and he ate all the grapes desperately. So until he was full. So when he was full and he wanted to leave, because his body was his body expanded and grew big again, so he could not go out. So he had to repeat the same trick and stuff inside the vineyard for another 3 days and 3 nights before he could leave. After telling this story, Chuck Finney asked the reporter if they understood the moral of the story. So actually, there's a moral behind this particular story. So it is a story to describe a metaphor. This story was used as a metaphor to describe the people. So when we come to this world, we bring nothing with us. And when we leave this world, we can't take anything with us as well. So we come empty-handed and we leave empty-handed. However, I often emphasize during this process, because we are learning the Buddha Dharma, we are not the same as ordinary the other sentient beings. We understand that we have to make use of the time, make use of our resources, our wealth, our time, to do things that are beneficial to us, that are beneficial to our cultivation, and this is the accumulation of merit. So I ask again, what can we not bring with us? So the answer to this is, well, we can't bring our wealth with us. So what can we bring with us when we leave? What we can bring with us is actually our merits. Nobody can take our merits away from us. So this is why we are different from other sentient beings. We know we have to convert our wealth, our resources into our resource. Merits. To convert our wealth, our resources into merits. Next is colors of the offering items. So if one is practicing pacification, doing pacification of calamities, use white as the main color. For example, white sesame, white mustard seed, white milk, white flowers, white honey, white rice, white beans, white melon seeds, white fruits, biscuits or fruits that are generally white. So if it's a homa for healing illnesses, medicine can also be used. So for pacification, we use white as the main color. So for enrichment practice, we use yellow as the main color. For example, yellow beans, yellow nectar, yellow incense, sandalwood powder, which is also yellow flowers, yellow beets, wheat, barley, maltose or malt sugar, peanut oil, bread, yellow fruits, etc. So the main the main point is use yellow for enrichment practices. So for magnetization practice, use red as the main colors. For example, red beans, red rice, red incense, red ghee or red butter, red flowers, red fruits, any red fruits. So any kind of food, such as red glutinous rice balls. So I'm sure most disciples actually do not limit themselves to food. They also make offerings of garments or clothing. So next is subjugation practice, which uses black as the main color. For example, black beans, black sesame, black rice, purplish black fruit juice, black incense, black sandalwood powder, blue or purple flowers, black fruits, such as black plums or black grapes, flowers with thorns, such as roses, or any black fruits, any black food, for example, like grass jelly or black sesame paste. So the variety of offering items can be used is very broad. As long as the food or items are meaningful or useful, they can be offering items. So the different types of offerings are divided into offering of wealth, which is offering of benefits. So they include offerings of incense, flowers, food and drinks, and items. So the next one is, the second one is offering of Dharma, which is offering of reverence. Teaching of the Dharma to heavenly, and this involves teaching of the Dharma to heavenly and sentient beings, the offering of praise and reverence, the offering of cultivation. So the third one is the offering of conduct or morality, offering of contemplation and action, and this involves upholding cultivation, offering of diligent cultivation of wondrous Dharma. So fourth is genuine offering. So this is a real genuine offering with many tangible items, gathering many tangible items to perform a large offering. So when one confesses and repents before the Buddhas to pray for their blessings, one must perform great extensive offerings for them to be effective. Therefore, many disciples seeking the Dharma will make extensive offerings to their gurus when they first approach them. So every time when disciples go for consultation at the Seattle temple, many of them bring many offerings with them. So the fifth kind is the offering of transformation or multiplication. So this involves visualizing a single item multiplying, for example, an apple, multiplying into many apples, forming a single row, then a single layer, until finally the entire void is filled with nothing but apples. So this is the Tantrayana visualization, and then it is followed by reciting of the offering mantra, which was elaborated earlier. So the sixth one is offering of purity, which is the offering the purity of one's body, speech, and mind. So the seventh one is the supreme offering, the offering of one's chi, meridian channels, and luminant dewdrops. The last one is the offering of attainment. So it is involves an offering of great bliss, or mahasukha, radiance, and emptiness, or sunyata. So the offering of great bliss can only be done by one who has the ability to undertake. And this is the offering of the highest yoga tantra. All right, so we have come to the mini quiz segment, which will be hosted by DA Lian. So you can go to www.menti.com and key in the code to the room which you want to enter. So it's in the chat box. If you the links are given in the chat box, you can just click on the link for the English, or you can also enter the code, the respective code for the English quiz. So for the English one, you can go to www.menti.com and key in 85353764 as shown on the screen. So just another 25 seconds for everyone to log in, and also key in your name on Menti.
松鼠们还有多一下子，请等一等。
All right.
好，上师可以了。
第一题。
All right. So the first question reads: Select the wrong step in the true Buddha Great Mandala offering. Is it A, offering mudra and visualization? B, offering of rice and liquor? C, offering praise and mantra. So which is the wrong step in the True Buddha Great Mandala offering? A is offering mudra and visualization. B is offering of rice and liquor. C is offering praise and mantra. So the question is also in the chat box if you need.
答案是 B。
So the answer is
第
B.
二题，那一箱
Second question. Which of the following gives the wrong significance behind offerings?
直接忍入
A, generosity, morality, patience. B, diligence, meditation, wisdom. C, wealth, fame, reputation. So which is the wrong significance behind offerings?
对，答案是 C。
So yep, answer is C. The wrong significance behind offerings is wealth, fame, and reputation. Alright, we have come to the end of the mini quiz part 1. So let us look at how everyone did. So for the Chinese,
恭喜3-1雷战士。
so for the Chinese channel, I think Sanyi Lei Zhangsi took the first place. So return the time back to Master Lianyi to continue on the class.
公平的种类
So next is the different types of offering items.
花香灯
5 offerings include flower, incense, light, tea, and fruit. So for the 8 offerings, it includes the conch shell, fruit, fragrance, incense powder, light, sandalwood incense, flower, soap water, and pure water.
金刚系
So in Tantrayana, Vajra joy, Vajra garland,
金刚
Vajra song, Vajra dance, Vajra incense, Vajra flower, Vajra lock, Vajra fragrance, all symbolizes offering.
军师象征供养。依照佛经之中，
So according to the Buddhist sutras, the ritual of making offerings is extremely complex. And there are many kinds of offerings, such as the 5 offerings, 7 offerings, 8 offerings, 27 offerings, 37 offerings,
军师为公平。
etc. So all kinds of precious treasures are regarded as offerings. However, Living Buddha Lianyi Grandmaster believes that if one regards something as highly valuable, one can visualize it multiplying into many and present them to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
金刚曼、金刚歌、金刚语。
So
前面这4个呢，我查了一些资料，就是密教的金刚曼陀罗由大日如来自心中显现的金刚系、金刚曼。
So earlier we mentioned the Vajra joy, Vajra garland, Vajra song, and Vajra dance.
这个来供养
So
四方如来，称为内司供养。
they are
那另外的就是金刚香、金刚华、金刚灯、金刚图像。
a part of
这
the
个呢是由四方如来的知心显现出来的，以供养大日如来称为外司供养和内司供养这个就是我查一查这个字
so
跟大家分享。
the Vajra joy, Vajra garland, Vajra song, and Vajra dance, they are
公平的种类
part of the
和
Vairocana mandala.
供养后的公平。那供养后的东西，莲生活佛建议自己
So next is what to do with the items after the offering.
吃不完用
After items have been offered to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Grandmaster recommends to consume it yourself or have your family consume it. If you cannot finish the food, give it to those who need it.
喝掉。
For beverages or alcohol, you can either take a few sips or drink the entire thing.
来穿
For clothing and accessories, one can just simply wear them after offering.
那如果家里没
For joss paper, one can simply burn them. If one does not have an incense burner bin or container at home, circle the joss paper above a lit incense for 3 rounds and report to the deities the venue or temple you will be burning them at. If you are burning them at a temple, do prepare another set of joss paper as offerings at the temple and clearly state that the set from your house will be burned in the incense burner bin or container of the temple, while the other set will be burned as an offering and gratitude to the temple. Then we proceed to burn the both sets separately. So why do we need to consume our offerings, why do we need to why should we consume the offerings ourselves? So because we have offered these offerings to the deities, to a particular deity, we will be able to attain spiritual union with the particular deity easily, because it kind of forms a connection with the deity that you have made the offering to. And this is also a kind of blessing given by the deity which you have offered the items to. So the benefits of the great mandala offering. So the first is to obtain the blessing of root guru and the triple gems. So the true Buddha Great Mandala Offering practice is a tantric practice that brings about immeasurable blessings. One can obtain the blessings of root guru and triple gems, as well as protection by the Vajra and Dharma protectors. So the second benefit is one can obtain blessings from deities and achieve attainment and cultivation. So the true Buddha Great Mandala Offering practice cultivates one's heart for giving or generosity through making offerings to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then transforms this to generosity towards all sentient beings. And it is a great tantric practice where one emanates extraordinary bodhisattva. Hence, it is through making offerings that one is enriched by blessings from deities and achieve attainments. So what is the greatest act of giving or generosity? So it is not simply food, it is the greatest act of generosity is giving to oneself.
所以这个是我觉得这个布施真的很不简单尤其是我看到一些在家中也是很发心。
So I also see many lay disciples who practice giving dana, generosity. And so they have many disciples have came forward to lead group cultivations, to be facilitators for this course. So they have actually taken time out of their schedule to do this. So this is also an act of generosity and giving. So another example is Mother Teresa. So she has done many deeds, many great deeds that that is not so easily achievable by other normal human beings.
为什么叫垂死之家呢？因为他成立这个地方呢，是真正的发心去帮助一些需要帮助的人，有一些有一些年老有病的那些人，还有一些在印度贫穷的地方，到处都是
So Mother Teresa actually set up a home for
这些人呢，全部带去这个垂死之家这个地方慢慢的
a home for people.
一种心灵的关怀。
So she
很重要的，尤其是临终真的很需要一种
gave them
心灵的，给他一种关怀
spiritual advice.
很安详的离开。
No, sorry. Took care of their mental health, gave them advice for those who were facing death.
就像一条狗这样，但是呢，我到了这个垂死之家，我虽然临终我要走了。
So many who came to the home that she set up. Most of them felt their life was their entire life was almost meaningless. But when they came to the house that Mother Teresa set up, they felt like they were treated as angels. I think. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. So the next one is obtaining blessings in the secular world. So if people in this world wish to receive greatest fortune or blessing, they have to make offerings to the root guru, triple gems, Vajra, and Dharma protectors. Through making offerings, the practitioner expresses their sincerity, and by revering reverence of the unexcelled triple gems, one obtains the blessing power of the root guru and triple gems, and then hence receives endless good fortune. Lin Buddha Lian Shen once said, if one wishes to obtain the greatest blessing in the world, so one should practice the offering practice. So there was a story where Buddha asked Ananda to go to a village to fetch a bucket of water. So Ananda went to the village, and then he saw a grey-haired old woman washing clothes by the well, and then Ananda politely asked the old woman, "Ma'am, can I ask you for a bucket of water?" As soon as the old woman raised her head and saw the young man, she rejected Ananda and then said, "No, this well can only be used by people in the village, and no outsiders are allowed to use this water." Then she drove Ananda away. So Ananda had no choice but to go back with the empty barrel without any water. So he told the Buddha about what happened, and the Buddha just nodded and asked Ananda to sit down. Afterwards, the Buddha told Sariputta to go to do the same task. So upon reaching the village, Sariputta also saw the old woman, and he asked the old woman, "Ma'am, can I ask you for a bucket of water?" So as soon as the woman looked at Sariputta, she couldn't help but say, "Yes, sure, come on, I'll help you fetch the water." So after fetching a bucket of water for Sariputta, she also told him to wait, and because she wanted to hurry home to get some food for Sariputta to take it with him. So hence Sariputta brought back an entire bucket of water and also some food, some desserts that the old woman had gave him. Buddha nodded and asked Sariputta to sit down. And Ananda and the disciples present were very puzzled and wondered, asking why is it that both Ananda and Sariputta was treated so differently? So the Buddha said, Sariputta has actually accumulated a lot of great merits before in his previous lives. So in comparison, maybe Ananda did not do as much great merits. So it is very important in one's journey, in one's cultivation, we have to form favorable affinities with everyone. So when we so this is the most important part in Tantrayana also. We have to keep reflecting on ourselves. If we have maybe we do not have such wholesome affinities with other people, we have to look at ourselves to see whether whether is it our actions that resulted in this. So we may try to change some of the way we say things to help people more. So we hope to form favorable affinities with many sentient beings we meet with along the way. So in our cultivation journey, we cannot favorable affinities are the most important. We cannot do without favorable affinities. So the pith of Great Mandala Offering. In practicing the Great Mandala Offering practice, it is even more paramount to understand the pith behind it. So the pith is giving or generosity and without seeking anything in return.
因为我看到一个故事，大家应该听过有一句话嘛，花若
So there's another story. I think there's a saying that says, when the flowers bloom, the butterflies will be attracted and come naturally. And if people have done good deeds, they will naturally be treated with good retribution. So the story goes, there was a man who liked butterflies so much that he bought a pair of running shoes and nets and a net. So he went, and then after buying a pair of running shoes and a net, he went to a field, a grassland. He put on his sneakers and chased and ran on the grassland to catch the butterflies. So after a while, after some time, he had a hard time catching butterflies, and he only caught a few butterflies after a long while. So he was panting and sweating, and the butterflies, when the caught butterflies were struggling with fear in the net. Therefore there was nothing beautiful about this scene. So there was another scenario. Another person who also liked butterflies, he bought a few pots of flowers and put them on the windowsill, and then he sat quietly on the sofa sipping his tea. And then the butterflies naturally came. So the first example was called, it described a situation called pursuit, and the second one is attraction. So the first one actually it involves seeking with something wanting something in return, while the second is giving without something in return. So if we do something, we don't think of what we will get out of doing this thing. So we will just do it first. So remember, I also shared to be a friend of time. So to just keep doing something diligently, and time will reward you naturally. So I think this is how we should do it. Don't think of what we can get out of doing something. We should just do it. So the three types of offering is the three types of generosity. The first type is giving of wealth, which is the use of material resources. So it's the use of wealth or material resources to help the sick and needy. The second is the giving of righteous Dharma, using the righteous Dharma to persuade people to do good things and avoid evil. The third is the giving of protection and pacification, or the giving of fearlessness, to relieve the fear of others, without regards for one's own safety. So the aim of practicing generosity or dana is to overcome one's stinginess and greed. So Grandmaster has said, giving without seeking anything in return is the true pith of the great mandala offering practice. Because in order to overcome stinginess and greed, one should give without seeking anything in return. Giving without seeking anything in return is no mind or no thought. This means the mind is free of any attachments or thoughts. Hence, delusional thoughts will not arise or will not dwell in the mind, and the mind is clear and tranquil. So the great giving without seeking anything in return is the immeasurable offering within the great mandala offering. Giving while seeking something in return is limited blessing within the great mandala offering. So the great so I think there's a story about Emperor Liang, who did many good deeds, and he asked Damo Zusi, are there any merits from the good deeds that I have done? So he thought he has actually accumulated many merits because he did a lot of good deeds for the country. He built many temples, etc. In response, Dharma also said, there is no merit. This is what you are supposed to do in your life.
而其追生意义，赏是为了度化，这个多艰吗？艰难。
So,
所以我有变。
okay, so the second point is the Vajra Sutra expounds giving without attachment is giving without seeking anything in return and is simply inconceivable in quantity. Hence, when one performs the great mandala offering, if they can give without seeking anything in return, the blessings they obtain are as boundless as the void. The key to subduing delusional thoughts lies in giving without seeking anything in return. Seeking anything in return, this is the true pith of the great mandala offering. In addition, the most profound meaning is to overcome stinginess and greed, because the essence of making offerings is to give away. To give away one's prized possession, to give away what one cannot bear to part with, to offer to the deities. Because one is able to give away, one naturally extinguishes all thoughts of greed that arises from ignorance, and hence, therefore, one's affliction would naturally decrease.
看破方向，很简单。然后呢，他的弟子问如何看破方向。
I think there's this story about a master and a disciple. A disciple asked his master. Okay, sorry. So the story is about living Buddha Zhang Jia. So he's a spiritual leader of the Gelug lineage of Tibetan Buddhism. So I think this is an piece of advice that living Buddha Zhang Jia said to his disciple, to see through everything and to let it go. The disciple asked, how do you see through everything and let it go? And then the living Buddha Zhang Jia responded, to practice dana, to practice generosity. Through generosity and giving, one is able to achieve this. So this means one practices giving away their possessions, their prized possessions, and therefore will see the reality of impermanence and therefore be able to let go of their attachment and desire. Hence, we should start from practicing generosity. So if you have the material wealth, you can practice generosity, giving of your material wealth. If you do not have a material wealth, we can also practice giving giving of one's time, taking time, making use of one's time to help other sentient beings. So what should we do if we do not have anything precious to offer to the Buddhas? The Grandmaster answered, this is Grandmaster's answer. This is the ultimate secret to the true Buddha Great Mandala offering. If we do not have something tangible to offer to the Buddhas, we can just simply form the offering mudra, visualize in our minds the most exquisite thing. It may be something we saw while on the road or in other people's house. So in the same way, we can imprint it in our minds and visualize it multiplying from one to many, and from many into an immeasurable amount, and offer them all to the deities in the universe. Then we will similarly recite the offering mudra. So in the same way, one will receive immeasurable blessings. So there was actually a disciple who passed by a kind of a jewelry store. So he walked by and he stopped and he formed the offering mudra. So he actually visualized all the jewelry as offering to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So this is a kind of wisdom, a very clever way to do the offering practice. So in addition, we can also offer all kinds of daily necessities like food, clothes, shelter, transportation, education, and entertainment. Therefore, integrating this offering practice into our daily life. So the mandala offering practice is also offering one's body, speech, and mind to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vajra and Dharma protectors, Dakinis, Devas, and the six realms. So it is an offering of a purified body through mudra, purified speech through mantra and purified mind through visualization. Taking all of our conduct, all of our cultivation, all aspects of our daily lives and transform them into clouds of offering, multiplying from one to many as offering to the deities. So we can take our conduct, our daily conduct, our everyday conduct, our everyday cultivation, and take them treat them as offering to take them as offering to offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In addition, making offerings to the root guru also demonstrates respect, joy, and not asking without giving anything in exchange. So this means one must make offerings to show a little appreciation. This is because the root guru is a representation of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. It is extremely important to make offerings to the root guru, as it is only through following one's root guru that one can cultivate and learn the Dharma. A true guru will not be greedy for offerings, but will treat all offerings made to the guru with an attitude of these offerings are taken from sentient beings, and will be used for sentient beings. So in a sense, these offerings will be used for Dharma propagation and liberation of all sentient beings from suffering. So we can also
他有一个弟子，他的大弟子叫俄巴拉玛。那有一天，俄巴拉玛带了很多的供养。
There's a story about Oba Lama. Oba Lama is a disciple of the great guru Mahapa. So this story goes, Oba Lama brought all his possessions to Mahapa and prayed for his guru to pass on to him the Dharma of becoming a Buddha instantly. So Mahapa looked at his disciple and asked him, "Is this all your possessions?" And Oba Lama did not dare to hide anything from his guru, and he replied, "In fact, there is an old lame goat which I did not bring." So this goat had problems with its leg. So Mahapa asked, "Then why not bring this sheep as offering?" Opa Lama replied, "Because this sheep is old and blind and lame, so I did not bring it. If so, I will go back and bring this old goat as an offering." So Opa Lama went back and carried this lame sheep back to Mahapa. So when he carried this sheep to Mahapa, it was raining heavily and the whole road was muddy and very slippery. So Oba Lama still carried this old sheep all the way and walked in the rain with difficulty. So Mahapa was sad to see the situation from his home because he was seeing his disciple having difficulty with carrying the sheep back to Mahapa. So when Oba Lama arrived drenched and muddy with his old goat, Guru Mahapa said to him, "As a guru, I do not covet anything from you. I do not want anything from you. It is because I myself respected the Dharma and also to let your heart be with in spiritual union with the Guru's heart. This is why I ask you to do this." So because similarly, because Grandmaster is really very benevolent, because of our convenience, because Grandmaster truly wants to help us, help all sentient beings, so he grants empowerment to us. So in comparison, when disciples wanted empowerment from their guru, they had to actually go through a lot of hardships. So it was not so easy, as comparatively so easy to receive such empowerment, such lineage, such dharma, such practices. So this is So offering to one's root guru is also, it also allows one to achieve spiritual union with one's root guru, to have kind of have the heart, the minds of the guru and the disciple to be connected. So there was another story. There was a famous calligrapher of the Song Dynasty. He was called Mi Fu. So when he was young, he learned calligraphy for 3 years. And then during these 3 years, he did not learn calligraphy. He was not able to do calligraphy well. So one day he heard that a scholar was passing by a scholar who was extremely good at calligraphy. This scholar was passing by the village. So Mi Fu went to ask this scholar for advice. So the scholar looked at Mi Fu's so the scholar looked through Mi Fu's post and said, if you want to learn writing from me, it is possible, but there is also a condition. You have to buy paper from me, but the paper I'm selling is very expensive. It costs 5 taels of silver per piece. So Mi Fu was thinking, how can there be such an expensive paper? But because he had a strong desire to learn, Mi Fu gritted his teeth, borrowed some silver, and handed it to the scholar. Then the scholar handed him a piece of paper and said, go back and write it well and show it to me in 3 days. So when Mi Fu was trying to when he wanted to start his calligraphy practice on the paper, the moment his brush touched the paper, he was extremely reluctant. He kept thinking, this paper is really expensive. It's bought with 5 taels of silver. And so he was looking left and right. He did not dare to use this piece of expensive paper easily. So he pondered over it again and again. So 3 days later, the scholar came and saw Mi Fu sitting at a table, holding a brush in his hand, just looking at the writing paper, and there was no ink on the paper. And he asked in surprise, why haven't you written it yet? Mi Fu awoke like in a dream, only to think that the 3-day deadline had expired, and so he muttered, I'm afraid I'll waste the paper. Then so the scholar laughed, pointed to the paper, and said, okay, you've been thinking for 3 days, just write a word for me to see. And then Mi Fu raised his pen and wrote the word Yong. So when the scholar saw that the writing was well written, he deliberately asked, why didn't you progress in your 3 years of study, but now you can make great progress in 3 days? So Mi Fu thought for a while and said, because this piece of paper is expensive, I did not dare to write on it casually like before. But I carefully pondered on the words, imprinted the words in my mind before I wrote it. So yes, this is how it should be done. The scholar said, learning calligraphy is not only to use the brush, but to also move the heart, not only to observe its shape, but to also understand the essence in order to write it well. So after after the scholar spoke, he added 7 words after the word Yong with a stroke of his pen. So it means that in something that said, do not forever do not forget. This piece of paper is something. It costs like 5 taels of silver. So the next is the mini quiz part 2.
B. 诵经祈求 C. 舍身离欲
So what is the pith to the great Mandala offering? A. To give dana without asking for anything in return. B. To recite mantras and pray from something. C. To be selfless and depart from worldly desires.
答案是 A。第四题，
So the answer is A, to give dana without asking for anything in return. Which is the wrong question 4? Which is the wrong significance behind offering to our root guru? So A is to be prosperous. B is no empty offering, which means to not ask for anything without giving something in exchange. Then an offering, no matter how small, is required. C is to be respectful and be joyful.
Oh, 我们已经有了最后的排行榜。中文的我们有老钟师兄得到最高分，就有3780分。
恭喜恭
So
喜
you can
老
see the winners on the Chinese mini quiz. So let us see the this is the leaderboard for the English participants. So we have Lianhua Yixiang leading.
恭喜莲花一响。
Congratulations. So this is the Indonesian participants.
恭喜 Betty
The highest score is from Betty.
今天的这个问答环节已经结束了，我就把这个
So we have come to the end of today's mini quiz segment. We will hand the time back to Master Lianyi.
好。俗称的真佛大供养法。
The most precious true Buddha Mandala offering practice. So the true Buddha Mandala offering practice is a kind of tantric practice symbolizing respect, closeness, and to serve. Hence, one obtains blessing power enveloping oneself entirely through this practice. And with this practice, cultivation of any tantric practice will lead to fruition. Without such blessing, cultivation of any tantric practices will not give any results. More profoundly, all sentient beings are the target for making offerings. Hence, one should make offerings to all sentient beings, not just to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. All sentient beings have Buddha nature, hence one should make offerings to them. One's intrinsic nature is Buddha nature. So the intrinsic nature, so the intrinsic nature of each sentient being is no different from the intrinsic nature of Buddhas. Making offerings to intrinsic nature is equivalent to making offerings to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vajra, and Dharma protectors in all times and direction. Because Buddha nature is one body and interconnected, hence making offerings to one's intrinsic nature is also equivalent to making offerings to the Buddha nature of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. How does one make offerings to their intrinsic nature? So we can do this by learning the Buddha Dharma of the Tathagatas, diligently cultivating the Dharma of the Tathagatas, and realizing the Buddha fruit of the Tathagatas is the greatest offering. Purifying one's body, speech, and mind is the greatest offering for one's intrinsic nature. Allowing one's mind to dwell peacefully with no afflictions is the greatest offering for one's intrinsic nature. Cultivation, meditation, and allowing one's mind to be filled with radiance and Dharma joy is the greatest offering for one's intrinsic nature. Hence, I really truly believe that the great mandala offering practice, it reminds us of why we should why we are learning the Buddha Dharma. So I see many disciples when in their journey of learning the Buddha Dharma, they come across many troubles, many afflictions, and this result in them being unhappy in every day in their daily lives. So we can take some time to reflect. Why is this so? Is there something that went wrong? So when we learn the Buddha Dharma, when we learn the Dharma is with the aim to transcend worldly afflictions. So when we cultivate, we have to work together to So when we cultivate, it's very important for us to keep reflecting on ourselves, to So ideally, when we practice, when we cultivate more and more, we should be happier, we should have less troubles, have less worldly afflictions. So this is a brief summary. There are three key elements to the true Buddha Great Mandala offering practice, namely mudra, mantra, and visualization. Yet, truly the most important element is one's most sincere heart. If one single-mindedly visualizes offerings, multiplying into an immeasurable and boundless number, naturally the blessings one receives in return are also immeasurable and boundless. Hence, single-mindedness, focused visualization is of utmost importance. The aim of performing offerings is to accumulate merits of fortune and wisdom. The key is the power of one's mind. As long as one gives it their all and tries their best, that is the best offering. Hence, the merits of performing offerings does not only come from the precious treasure offered, but it comes from one's heart. Extraordinary generosity begets extraordinary merits. So this is a story about an old woman. So this woman was very poor. She had nothing. She spent her life in hunger and cold, and she only had rags to wear. So she actually begged for a whole day with her trembling hands and finally got a penny. However, so she could only afford a relatively small light to the Buddhas. So in comparison to the other people offering many bigger lights, more majestic lights. So when the dawn came, all the lights had burned out or blown out except for this poor woman's light. So this light was Amitabha, sorry, didn't catch the end. Thank you, Master Lianyi, for his wondrous stories. And today we also learn what is a true real merit. So when we practice dana without asking for anything in return, then we will be able to we'll be able to receive immeasurable blessings. However, if we give with the expectation of asking for something in return, we will only receive limited blessings. So I'm sure all of us have had many takeaways from today's lesson. And today and now we have come to our Q&A section. So there's this question that says, if the offer that is if this offering is not bought or purchased by us, can we still offer it? So previously we have also talked about this. So even if it is not something that you have bought by yourself, so it's just you can also visualize this object multiplying into many and also similarly offer it to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So thank you, Master Lenny, for clarifying. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to leave it in the chat box, or you can just directly unmute yourself to ask. So I think there's another question, which is kind of similar. If disciples, so if we attend, I think the question is, if we attend group cultivation and we do not bring our own offerings, can we visualize the offerings of other people in our visualization? So yes, it is. We can temporarily visualize the offerings brought by other people, but after the cultivation session, we can make a small donation to the temple we can make a small donation to the temple. in the there's often a donation box at the various cultivation venues. So it's just extremely important that we do not do not ask and not give anything in return.
再加上师尊传的这个真谋必法供养赞济咒去做供养，都会有一样的功德。那还有一道问题，那如果同
So I
门
think
有
there's another question. So if you have any questions, you can just feel free to leave in the chat box. If we do not have enough time to answer all your questions, we will consolidate these questions and ask them and clarify and invite Master Lianyi to clarify any doubts in the next lesson. So if you are so feel free to leave your questions if in English or Indonesian if you wish in the chat box. So I think there's this question is on the burning of joss paper. So when we burn joss paper, can we only use the joss paper true Buddha school joss paper, or can we also use other joss papers other joss papers that are external to TBS? So Master Lianyi's answer is yes. If it's possible, it's encouraged to use the TBS JAWS papers, and because I think there's 7 different kinds. So it's each of these TBS JAWS paper has their own significance, it has their own mantra. So it's recommended to use the TBS JAWS papers. So can we take JAWS papers that are external to TBS and have Grandmaster bless them? So yes, the answer is yes. It's possible to kind of request Grandmaster to bless items. So because the TBS JAWS papers, the 7 kinds of TBS JAWS papers is recommended by Grandmaster as well as TBF is encouraged to use them. Okay. I think there's a question in Indonesian. Give a moment. Let's just take a moment because okay, sorry. There's another question. Can we take the items that are given to us by other people to offer to the Buddhas? So Master Li's answer is, since the person has already given this item to you, this item is yours. So if this item has not been offered to the Buddhas, it can be offered to the Buddhas. However, if it has already been offered to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then don't. It is not advisable to offer it again to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So what do we do if we are not sure whether this item has already been offered to the Buddhas yet? So I think it's best to check with fellow disciples whether they have actually whether this item has been offered to the Buddhas. So if you are unsure, you can still proceed to do it. It is a kind of it is one's intention to. If it's one intention to perform an offering, it is also okay. This is Master Lianyi's opinion. So Master Lianha is giving a round of applause to Master Lianyi because all answers were for his very clear answers.
好的，我看到留言区这边有写，我们可以连教授是有帮忙翻译了我念给
Alright, there is
我们可以想象哪些供养让我们的家人参与提供我们提供的供养这个问题要消化一下 没关系，我们在消化这个问题的时候，我们看下面这个问题。当我们在寺庙参加虔诚礼拜，不带贡品，是否可以观想家里所拜祭的贡品？这些贡品恰好在家里修行中观想。也就是说他这位同门如果在寺庙
So this question,
同修的时候忘记带贡品，可以观想家里坛城上的贡品来供养吗？
so the question is if one has
那个应该
forgotten to bring
带
offerings
供养是
to
吗？
the group
是
group
已经供养过
cultivation
他
sessions,
们
can we
在
visualize the
在
offerings
寺庙里带供养。
that are
像我们在
on
做的
on
我们
one's
以前在供的香
altar or
可以
shrine
供
at
养吗？哦，
好的，谢谢上
okay
师。
sorry so when we attend a
其他的
cultivation
其他的同门还有
sorry a service in a monastery without making offerings, is it okay to visualize offerings at home?
我们的上师，目前我们
um
还有一些时间，
yeah
大家把握
so
宝贵的
instead of so Master Lianyi's answer is instead of doing this, instead of visualizing the offering items that are at the shrine, at your home's altar, you can make a small offering, a small donation to the temple, small monetary donation to the temple.
供养。那我带去的家人是否可以跟我一起观想我所带去的贡品？是这个意思。
哦，这个就是一家人共同用一个贡品是吗？
对对对对对。
哦，
So
应
the
该
next question is,
可以了。
if I have bought an offering
好，
item,
希望带
can
多一点。
my family members also visualize the same offering
我
items?
不能够说带一点
So
就
Master
可以
Lianyi's
了
answer is yes, it's
因为
possible,
代
but
表一
but
种心
maybe
意
you can bring more offering
哦
items
，OK，
because
那
since the
带
entire
一点
family
不是我们的东西
is
吗？
making
代
offerings.
表我
So
们
this
带
is just
来供养佛菩萨，到最后也是回归给自
this is
己。
just our intention,
刚才上次有讲到哈，
our intention to make an offering. So it is not that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will be eating per se our offerings, but it's just an intention from our heart, from
赞助一些金钱
that we want to offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
对吧？那最起码那个供养的人会有一点心安了。好的，谢谢上师。那我们在留言区也有看到
All right, thank you, Master Lianyi.
这个要请那个印尼翻译。
So I think we are still waiting for
好的
some Indonesian
还有
questions to be translated into
想发言
Chinese.
的话也可以直接举手。
So if you have
好，
any
欢迎
questions,
来
feel free to leave it in the chat box, or you can unmute
大
yourself
家的问题呢
to
可以
ask the
提问
question.
哈，因为当我们在问
So don't be shy to ask any questions, because
一起上课
when you ask a question,
啊
not only you benefit, but also all of us who are attending the lesson benefits as well.
都必须换一次贡品吗？
So the question is, for every session, for every cultivation session
的谈法
that we
他们的修
practice,
法需要更换吗？是不是每一堂
do we need to
都
change
要
the
换一个贡品的意思？
应
offerings?
该是每一堂法
So
更换
so the answer is
不
yes.
同
For
的
every session, for every cultivation session that you practice, that you cultivate, you have to change the offerings.
供养这个佛
So
菩萨
one set of offerings
除了这
for
个心要到之外，如
um
果环境条件
every cultivation session that you have.
换哈，这是必要的。
Yep. So this also goes back to our intention to make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
师尊有开示过，很小的贡品，如果好比一粒糖果，也要供养。那我们享用之间，要修3个步骤：清净、超度、供养佛菩萨后才来享用吗？他的意思说，
So the next question is,
是否也要经过那个
even for a very small item such as just a piece of candy, do we need to go through the 3 steps of purification,
最好这个完整嘛，完整
bottle
是
deliverance,
先
and
超
last
度
is the
连
offering?
这个水
So
都
Master
要
Lianyi is
可以
saying,
嘛，我们
yes, it is
从
advisable, it's
超
encouraged to do
度
all 3 process, I mean all 3 steps:
供养
purification, bottle deliverance, and before we offer it to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So Master Lianyi has brought up, even water has a little bacteria, little organisms. So it is advisable to do by the deliverance, then offering practice.
请上师开始一下。
Om Hom 其实它很多意思表示一种变化，也是表示一种清净都是可以的一般上最后 Om Hom 应该是表示一种变化无穷无尽。
好的，就是最后念 Om Hom 就是观想变化无量无边就对了，充满虚空，对吧？
So I think the question was what does reciting Om Ahom after the Mandala offering mantra mean? So Master Lianyi is replying that Om Ahom actually signifies the multiplication of all the offerings into an immeasurable amount, filling the entire universe.
好，有一位印尼的同门住相布施生天福，犹如仰见色虚空，尽虚力尽，见还罪，招得来生如意。他的意思说，住相布施只能够得人天福报，就好像我们把那个箭射去虚空，那个箭最终还会堕落到自己原本的地方。请上师解答这个问题。
这个就是说它不是究竟，应该是不是究竟了，不是圆满就是你有就是你做这些有相嘛，有相好像我刚才讲这个梁武帝，他所做的就是人天的福分嘛，人天的福报就是有限不是永远这个嘛应该是这样子吧，它是有那怎
I
么
think
说
there is a saying, I'm not quite sure also, that says
我来补充一下。当年在佛陀的时代有一个这样的故事，当时佛陀劝应该是
sorry, so to this topic, let me just
出家，然后佛陀
let's just listen to Master Lian's story first.
这个天上界有很多美女天女，然后呢
So there was this disciple who wanted to be ordained, and then his master brought him to the heavenly realm.
佛陀说这是你的，
Oh, sorry,
你这个
Buddha brought him to the heavenly realm.
因为你这一世做了很多福报。
So they saw a throne, and then then the disciple asked, what is this? Whose throne is this? And then Buddha answered, oh, this is your throne. So if you do many good deeds, you have a space in this heavenly realm. This is your throne. So I think after that, Buddha brought the disciple to hell, and then there is a cauldron of burning oil. And then the disciple asked, what is this pot of boiling oil for? Then I think the Buddha also said, oh, this is also your pot of boiling oil. So if you only enjoy the life in the heavenly realm without cultivation, you will, once your merits are used up, you will naturally fall into hell, into this pot of boiling oil. So I think Master Lian's point is extremely important to cultivate, to transform your to cultivate, to learn the Buddha Dharma.
一般上护法的酒一天供一次就可以了贡品就是要换
So I think the question is about the offering of liquor to the Dharma and Vajra protector. So the question is, sorry, so the answer to the question, sorry, the question is, can we not do we need to change the liquor or the wine that is offered to the Dharma protectors for every cultivation session? So Master Lianyi say no, you don't need to. This offering of liquor can just be changed once daily.
好的，线上印尼的同门呢， 如果我们来不及翻译您的这个问题的话，放心，我们会收集您的问题，我们会下一节课
So
为您继续做这个解答，大家可以继续留言的哈，谢谢。还有一道问题就是护法的酒供过了之后，可以再供土地公吗？请问上师。
So the previous question was, can we drink the liquor that has been offered to the Dharma and Vajra protectors after it has been after it has been offered to the Dharma and Vajra protectors? So yes, you can drink the liquor, but do not drink it straight from the offering cup. Just pour it out to another cup before you drink it. So this question is so this question is, can the liquor that has been offered to Vajra and Dharma protectors be offered again to the earth god? So Maslini is saying usually what he does is he will separate these offerings. So a set of offering for Buddha, for the Vajra protectors, and then another offering for the earth god.
要吃这些他们所拜过阴人了哈，王者的贡品。请问上师，如果真的要吃的话，要怎么去做什么
I think this question is about offerings that have been made to spirits. They have been made. So the question is, can we consume the food that has been offered to the ancestors? So Grandmaster has actually said before, yes, you can consume it, but just recite the purification mantra before you consume the food that has been offered to the ancestors.
那助教可以在堂做附魔供养回向吗？他的意思说因为助教不是出家众，
因为做附魔是在家中也是可以做啊。
So the question is, because can Dharma assistants do a Homa ceremony as an offering to as an offering, because there is no ordained members at the cultivation venue. So yes, lay disciples can also do Homa offering practice. So we have almost come to because of time constraint, no worries if your question is not answered. So we'll consolidate all of them and we'll answer them in the following session. So just one last question. Can we help? Can we make offerings on behalf of our own pets? So what kind of offerings should we make for this? So this one let us invite Marcelina. So Marcelini, this is the first time Marcelini has met with this question. So if you let your pet consume the offerings that have been made to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, it is also a kind of blessing for your pet.
对了，因为毕竟动物它不像人哈，人有那个观想力啊，那我们就要诵经回向，它来世解脱投生人界就很好了。那今天呢，联合上师好像要补充对吧？这个题，请联合上师。
刚刚第一个问题，印尼同门提的第一个问题，跟最后这个问题呢是有连接的。第一个问题，他也是说，用什么供养来能够让家人好像也参与供养，他们没有来参加同修。
So I think this question is quite similar to the one before. So it is about what offering items one can make on behalf of family members and pets. So this is also an act of Bodhisattva. So Master Lianha would like to just add that making offerings is not just offering of items of food. So another form of offering is to it's an offering of the purity of your body, mind, and speech. So you can visualize, your family members joining in the cultivation with you. So this is also a kind of offering. Cultivation is also a kind of offering. So this actually, you can visualize your family members around you joining in the cultivation to help them accumulate merits. So because we have an overwhelming response today, so I think there is a question from the YouTube audience. When we are eating, when we have our meals, we make offerings to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas.
不就是要这样子做吗？啊，上供养最后不是要念供养赞和咒吗？这个没有错啊。
是的，是的。
什么意思？
可能他不确定这样做对不对
So I think one disciple wants to confirm whether after we visualize offerings, making offerings to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, do we recite the offering mantra? So yes, we do. We just recite the offering mantra afterwards. So come to the end of today's session. Thank you, Master Lianyi and Master Lianha, for clarifying our doubts. And today we have ended. Sorry. And before we end class today, just a gentle reminder: has everyone participated in the punch card activity? So for those who have participated in the punch card activity, for every month, for those who have participated in the punch card activity, we will submit the name list to Grandmaster, and also burn the name list in the Homa ceremony. So just a gentle reminder to submit your assignments as well. And next week will be our commentary session. So if you can write more of your thoughts and what you have learned in your assignments. So many thanks to Senior Reverend Lian Ru and Dharma Instructor Guo Hui. And also give thanks to the interpreters today. The 配分助教, the Indonesian doing the Indonesian interpretation, as well as our backstage staff, 崔芳助教. So we've come to the end of today's class. Let's invite Master Lianyi to say bye to all of us. Again, we thank Grandmaster for radiating light on us. And thank you, Chairman Master Cheng Zhu, Education Director Master Lian Ha, PR Director Master Lian Jia, and thanks to all Master Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructors and Assistants, and as well as today's host, Yi Cai Jiangshi, as well as today's interpreters, and all facilitators, and all of those who have participated today. Thank you, everyone. Amidaba. So thank you, Master Lianyi. We will meet again in the next session. So remember, next session we will have a commentary by I think it's Master Lian Ha to give comments on the assignments submitted by the students.
真的，你拔刀相助，感恩你，谢谢你。
今天是收获满满，真的，谢谢大家都是很有收获，谢谢。
再见，我试一下。
谢谢上师，
谢谢阿弥陀佛，
谢谢。
谢谢大家，谢谢大家。